whenever people beatbox, I always think of that episode of The Emperor's New Groove where Kronk is like up against the wall. He's like,
I don't remember.
You've never seen Emperor's New Groove?
Mm-hmm, several times. Just don't remember it. I was a young boy.
You don't remember the iconic Patrick Warburton scatting his own theme music?
At that time, I liked David Spade. That's the only reason I even liked that cartoon, was because of David Spade.
There's a lot of white people in that movie, considering it's like in South America.
Isn't Yzma Eartha Kitt? No.
Yzma is Eartha Kitt.
Yeah.
She's the only brown person, and she's the villain. Come on, Disney.
She's also Madame Cerrone.
Eartha Kitt is like my favorite actress from that time period.
Who?
Eartha Kitt. She was the very first iteration of Catwoman on screen, which means that canonically Catwoman is black. People still got to stop complaining about Zoe Kravitz.
I mean, so was Halle Berry, no?
Yes. That movie was bonkers. I was like, this is PG-13? Damn.
What movie?
Halle Berry's Catwoman.
Didn't watch it.
Her butt's in it a lot. High five.
You know what's funny is that you always say that when you kick it with straight dudes, they always talk about butts, but you're the only guy I ever hear talk about butts.
I talked about it once right now.
No, dude.
Name the last time I talked about
Every
butts.
time you talk about straight guys, only talking about butts.
Yeah, I talk about straight guys talking about... That's not the same thing.
It's kind of the same.
It's not the same.
It's like vicariously talking about butts.
No, because I'm not talking about butts.
But...
Like, if I was talking about the details...
Oh, no, I meant all of the
from
butt
the
stuff.
but I like it.
I'm sure you do. That's what I'm talking about.
I like it.
And I cannot lie. You other brothers can't do that. I don't know the rest of the rap. But I can do this. It's pretty cool. Can you do that? We're going to have to put explicit at the beginning of this. Bonkers.
Or just cut it. Just cut it.
Yeah,
Make the
cut
cut.
for sure. Oh my god, that's ridiculous. Okay, guys, come on.
It's the same thing. Did we not do the same
No,
thing?
you didn't. You used tongue for some reason. You don't have to. Yeah, you don't need any tongue in what he was doing. It's all lip.
Don't give me no lip. All right. I do this thing where if I only need one hand to do something.
Ladies.
Am I right? It's the other hand. I'm right-handed. But if I only need one hand to do something, I usually put the other hand behind my back.
Right.
And I think I always look suspicious. Like when I drive with my left hand, and my right hand is always behind my back the entire time.
I knew a girl that used to do that at school, and people make jokes because she had like a
One arm.
very protruding posterior, so it looked like she was resting her
She
hand
had
on
a fat
it.
ass.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here you go again.
So it would
Just
look like,
saying, you talk about him more than anyone else I
it would-
know.
Yeah, because it was in context. It's different.
It's always in context.
I had a teacher for Avid when I was in 9th grade.
Nice.
And she was like this older white woman, and she always had French tip nails, but they were always like at the end of their like lifespan. Like there was so much space between the nails and her like cuticles. And she smoked cigarettes a lot. She smelled like cigarettes, and I'm like, me now. But anyway, her teeth were always like green in between her teeth. And I remember she would walk around the classroom, and it always looked like she had her hand like tucked into the back of her pants. And I didn't think that was weird until one day she walked behind me, and I shit you not, her hand is tucked in between her butt cheeks as she's walking, and I can see her like in tucked. And she was a thin woman. There wasn't a lot to hide with her clothes. It was tucked, and then she would like pull it out every now and then and just kind of like sniff her hand like without sniffing her hand.
I think that's a coping mechanism, isn't it?
What?
Like putting your hand inside of your body parts and smelling it,
How do you know?
because it's like a thing that nervous people do.
I don't know, but she would stick it betwixt her cheeks.
That's gross. She was a teacher?
A teacher, my teacher.
Yikes.
Teachers can't be real people.
Avid? You're saying if a guy walked up to you?
Guy? Just kidding. If it was a guy, that's disgusting.
I knew
Just
it.
joking.
Now who's obsessed with butts?
It was her butt?
Her butt.
What did you think she meant by cheeks?
Her cheeks.
In her pants.
Her ass cheeks.
Poquito, poquito, poquito podcast. Poquito, poquito, poquito podcast. Poquito, poquito.
We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about some different things. We were talking about butts earlier. Now we're not. I wanted to talk about Josh just did his very first show
His first chatterbox set. Woo,
ever.
woo.
Bow, 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 bow.
So woo. Is that demonetization if you do that?
Sue Woot?
Yeah.
No, that's gang shit, though. You probably don't want to do that.
What if I just do it cuz?
What if...
That's also gang shit. Yeah.
That's good. What if she's about that life?
She's not.
My uncles were.
I know, but imagine like going
They
up
weren't.
to... Imagine,
My uncles were.
Why are you saying that?
Not. My uncles were not.
but imagine like going up to like, you know, that kind of environment and being like, what if I'm about that life? You don't know me. Like being a Karen to
Right.
gangsters. Let me
That'd be
speak to
funny.
your manager. What's his name? Little Joker?
Who's in charge here?
Jesus
I have a spray
Christ.
can in my back pocket.
I asked for pumpkin spice. This is crack.
This is my block. You can't park here. You can't bang here.
I hate everything you guys are doing.
A Karen gangster, a Karen chola. That'd be so fun. Got in?
Actually, no, a chola named Karen. So, what would
Makes
her gang
sense.
sign be?
I was just about to say, I'm like,
Just like a picture of a lady with a phone. So, how was your set? How you feeling, dog?
I feel great. I feel good about it. I got a lot of positive reaction, which isn't something I usually like, but it felt good. I felt good after it. I still feel good about it. Riding that high.
How comfortable would you be critiquing yourself right now?
Critiquing myself, I
Yeah.
forgot one joke. That was just like the thorn in my brain about it. I spent so long trying to remember this one. Usually my jokes have like a little bit of continuity, but only for me, like in the tiniest way. They don't seem like it if you're on the outside.
Right.
But there was one part that had no continuity and no segue, really. They were two different subjects. And I was trying to be adamant about remembering the next joke. And that was when that time I broke. I was like, fuck.
but I think it added so much to your set because you are very straight faced your whole
Yeah, I
the
try
whole
and keep my
time.
composure as hard as I can,
I
even though I'm a
know.
little nervous.
I know.
Yeah.
But I think it added so much because, you know, people mess up their jokes all the time and they do the
Right.
fuck thing and they look down at their notes. It's not uncommon, but the fact that you are still trying to keep that straight composure and go back to the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah, that's part of it.
It was so funny.
I was talking to Mario about it, and it was like, it's kind of like we're playing. It's kind of like a speed bag a little bit for me, like a rhythm of like back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also kind of like ping pong with the audience a little bit, and I'm trying to win the whole time. As long as I'm keeping my composure, I feel like I'm winning. I'm making everyone laugh. I'm beating you in this game. But when I break, I feel like you guys scored on me. And I'm like, fuck, like this, you guys got me on this one. That's how it feels to me. It feels like I'm playing a game like that.
It's crazy.
I could see the comparison. I appreciate that.
I like using the analogy of magic. Which is so funny because if you're in the community long enough, like comedians hate magicians. But the sort of mechanics, the storytelling mechanics of tricks are very similar to how jokes are set up, where you establish the reality, you imply the change and then you flip the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of ways, jokes are very similar.
My favorite magicians are the guys who work at magic stores, and they're like, "Hey, little kid, come in. Let me sell you this. Oh, see this red light? Hey, you know that red light one?
Yeah.
I used to love that fucking stupid trick. Still, part of my brain is stupid. I still kind of don't get it. I know it's like this little thing or something that just lights up your finger, and you're just turning it on and off by touching it. But I get blacklisted from like a bunch of comedians are like, "Fuck this mother."
Comedians or magicians?
Fuck, did I say comedians?
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd be funny if in the middle of me saying that, it cut to a TV perspective of a magician fucking watching the show. Be like,
He's spitting out Red Bull.
oh yeah, that's so funny. Yeah. He's a clown magician.
Are all those handkerchiefs tied together?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ow?
Huh?
Do it again?
No, that's cut now.
Oh,
That's fucking cut now.
God.
Snuck it in there.
Could have left
It's
it if you wouldn't have said anything.
sensible boy, a sensitive boy.
It's so hard for me to write jokes, though. It takes me fucking forever. I'm about to do another show. I got booked for a second show.
Tight.
And it's going to be the exact same material I did from the first one, plus like maybe 3 jokes.
Tight.
I don't like that much. But now I understand why comics like work on their material for like a year. They'll like work on the same
that's the
set for like a
thing.
year
Because we've talked
and then
about
turn
this
it over.
We've talked about this before, and you kind of put a lot of specific restrictions on yourself. It's not that it's bad or anything, but like, it is good to sit with jokes for a while and continue to work on the same jokes.
Right, 100%, 100%.
Because you don't know how they could be better sometimes.
I think that I don't want to say these words I'm about to say.
Just saying.
I feel like I'm starting on a second level because all of my friends are seasoned. I hang out with comedians who've been doing this. I'm picking up pointers that people who usually start don't. Most
Right.
people start in their 20s. I'm a little bit older. I'm starting. And so I don't know. I just feel like I've been watching comedy for a long time. I've been studying this shit for a long time. I feel like it's like when you have a baby in your 20s versus waiting a little bit until you're a little older, more established. You know what I mean? I know I'm not better than like anyone that would be at my.
I mean, I do see what you're saying, but these things are still like important, skills to hone. Because it's comedy is a performance art, and a lot of people lose that concept when they think about it. And like any trade or special skill, it's never going to be no matter like how much you're into it, it's never going to be the same as actually doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still be things that are not necessarily necessary, but are common and useful.
I understand. I want to play with my friends. You know what I mean? So like, but my friends are already experienced.
Right.
So like, in order for me to be able to play on that level, I have to play ball. You know what I mean? I have to fucking play ball. And so, I don't know. I was talking to Mario Rodriguez about it, and he was like saying, you're just a baby in comedy. Like you, if you were just born when you started comedy, like you've only been doing it for not even a whole year. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like with that, like my show, I did all of my jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did all of my material. You know what I mean? And apparently, I still didn't even hit that 8-minute mark. I don't know. I thought I did, but
Did you see the light?
I did not. But I was also not paying attention at all. I zoned way the fuck out. So, but I know I didn't run the light. So
Yeah.
That's good.
yeah.
But that's also a common thing. You know, it always sounds longer in your head than it is.
I
Like,
know, it sucks. I timed myself so meticulously, and I thought I was on my time, which should have been 7 minutes and 28 seconds to the. Because I am following a rhythm, you know,
Right,
and
yeah.
I didn't get any applause that was out of what I typically plan for. And I'll step on a laugh to finish a joke or something like that. Like sometimes, I know I do that.
I hear you, but I feel like I see where you're coming from. You like your rhythm, you like your pacing, but I feel like you need to take a minute to enjoy the the laughter, the
Yeah.
success of your jokes.
I understand, and I have before. But there's only certain jokes I'll do it for because I've noticed with some jokes that if I wait too long, there's some jokes that if I wait, it makes it funnier.
Yeah.
Like the airplane food is nuts joke.
Yeah.
Right.
If I wait on that joke, then more people start to laugh. Same thing with the anxiety joke.
Yeah.
Right.
If I wait, more people start to be like, "Oh, I get it,"
Yeah.
or like the nihilism thing, like those kind of jokes. If I've noticed that, and like shout out to Stevana because she's where I learned that from.
Yeah.
She was like, "Just wait. If you don't think you got enough laughs for the joke, just wait."
Yeah.
And like wait till you get the laughs you deserve.
But even if people are laughing immediately, even if they get it immediately and you're getting a good amount of laughs, let it ride out almost till it's died down, then start the next joke. Because that adds so much to your time.
I mean
but
a tag
also,
though. I'm talking about for a tag. Like
Well, that was the other thing I was going to say, and it'll come more like when you have more material, but sometimes you'll just have to drop it. Like if you do a bit and the premise is hard enough that they're laughing too long for the tagline to work, just move on to the next.
I
joke.
do that. I do that. I did that the first time you ever saw me at a laugh.
It was at
Feed Your Funny. I did that there. Like it was the airplane food joke as well.
Yeah.
That joke, the premise got the laugh. Then I was like, "There's no way they're gonna laugh twice at this," because the second half of the joke's the same thing as the first half of the joke. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's literally the same line twice, just with emphasis on a different word. And I just moved on. Yeah, I didn't say the punch. Well, I mean, it is the punchline, but
Right.
yeah. Yeah, but to say all that, I was talking to Mario, and he was telling me like, oh, you know, that whole birth thing. But he was like, you need way more jokes, like 1,000 jokes. He was like, you need 1,000 jokes for every subject. You should have 1,000 jokes.
Who said this?
Mario Rodriguez.
Well, Mario's also like a riffer guy. Like,
Yeah, exactly. You know, and the energy he's able to curate in a room is insane.
Yeah.
And to be able to do that with different material night after night is fucking.
Yeah, that's also
work.
like it's hard to take advice from Mario. I'm not trying to dismiss it at all. He's
No.
a very great comic,
Yeah.
but it's because he has a very specific skill that's hard to come through by naturally, which is that he can riff on anything.
Yeah.
And so he has a very specific perspective because he's someone who could do that
No, I understand.
perpetually.
But embody a God MC and then body a God MC. You know what I'm saying?
Is that a rap song?
It's a rap lyric, yeah.
Nice.
But you know, you emulate greatness, and then it's. If I am able to see far, it is because I stood on the shoulders of giants.
Is that another rap song?
No,
that's
it's
just
not.
a quote.
Oh.
But I hear what you're saying about having a bit of a leg up starting off.
I think I do. I think I do.
I think I did too. Not because of the same reasons, but because like I did do the mic thing for maybe 8 or so months, and then the pandemic happened, and then I got into working in the comedy industry.
Mm-hmm.
And then the few mics I did when I got back into it, I met Chong and Adam Chong, shout out.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he just started putting me on shows.
Yeah.
And then I met Mario and McKenna and everybody, all the idiots again. And then they started putting me on their shows. And then I just kept getting shows from then on. And like I did mics every now and then, like in a blue moon, but it was mostly just like opportunities, which like that's awesome. That's sick, you know?
Yeah, that's rare.
It's rare, and it's very kind of them, very nice of them. It's still going. But
It's
I
very
did,
kind of them. It's very nice of them.
Huh?
It's very kind of say.
It's very kind of them. It's very nice of them, and I really appreciate that, like those opportunities. But I like when I think of Mario and all of them, I always think of them like 'cause they fucking grind. Those
Yeah.
fellas are out.
It's almost,
Basically 7 nights a
almost
week.
7 nights a week, yeah.
7 nights a week, just like doing freaking mics. And if they're not doing mics, they're working on shows. If they're not working on shows, they're working on
I'd
something.
say at least a solid 5.
At least.
At least a solid 5 plus their jobs.
At least, yeah. And you know, I'm at a point now that, you know, I've had all these opportunities that I'm starting to be more consistent and go out more and try harder and branch out and do something. Like I think all of us recently have been like trying to do something comedy related at least every day,
Facts.
Yeah.
you know, but I don't feel like I had to work as hard as everybody else had to to get on the same level as my peers.
And that's kind of the thing I'm talking about. Like, I think that having some people are just naturals. You know what I mean? We're just big naturals.
Yeah, like I think.
Hey, yes, they are.
I almost missed it.
That was like the whole deal with August for me. Like I did like 25, 26 mics, open mics. And it changed. I don't know if I haven't said this on the show. I was saying that I think there's an episode of Rugrats where someone buys fishing stuff for someone who likes to fish, and the other person wants to buy painting stuff for the other person who likes to paint, and so one of them sells their paint stuff to get the fishing stuff, and the other one sells their fishing stuff to get the paint stuff, and then they're like, oh man, I was trying to do this thing, and they have like one of those. That's kind of what happened to me. I was like doing 30. I wanted to do the entire month of August a mic every night to get ready for the September 1st show. But in the 30 days of me doing it, it made me like, I lost so much respect for stand-up. I used to like cherish stand-up so highly.
I mean, well, what do you mean?
I used to keep comedy on a pedestal.
That's what I used to talk about.
Yeah. We always used to talk about it. And you'd be like, you're thinking of it like it's such a, and I get it now because I put in that month. And like by the 20th mic, I was like, oh man, this
is off.
Yeah, kinda. From like people giving me bad advice to like just all the stereotypes that you hear at mics. You know what I mean? Like no one being there and like doing material for certain people and them just stonewalling me and then doing that same material and getting like applause breaks at fucking Comedy Store.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a little bit confusing sometimes where I'm like, is this good?
Yeah, I always tell people like, don't worry about the audience at an open mic. It's an open mic. You're practicing. Like,
well, I mean, if I do an open mic and the audience goes fucking berserk and they love me, then I'm gonna be like, I fucking killed it, guys. But if they hate me, I'm gonna be like, this mic sucks. These fools are idiots.
That's always the goal, but there's always something you can learn from what you're doing. Like, if no one's laughing, then just don't think about them. Think about your timing.
Yeah.
Think about saying it out loud is always better than saying it in your head.
I agree. But me saying my jokes out loud in an open mic where no one's giving me interaction doesn't tell me if my joke's good or not. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like you work on other skills.
It's not an accurate reading.
It's not an accurate reading.
I'll
get just as much done doing it in my mirror in the bathroom, and I wouldn't have to drive to Sunset Beach.
Well, you still know what you sound like on a stage in front of people in open space. It is different.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
But even
like what I'm saying is there's always something you can pull from it, but yeah, sometimes mics are just going to suck.
I think this is that whole thing about false confidence, you know, and we've talked about this several times. I think that's why I still am so hard on myself with any performance I have, any set I do. Even if I do pretty well, I'm like, that fucking sucked. Like, you guys don't know. I could do better because I have to keep, if I can't do better, then why am I here? Right.
But I think that's a feeling thing. Like you felt like you didn't do good or it didn't feel the way you wanted it to feel. And I know what you're talking about.
Honestly, the last like 3 sets I've done, I felt like I bombed the last 3 sets. And I'm just like, I'm not good at this. No. I shouldn't do this anymore.
No,
and
I don't think
they weren't awful, but
what? No, I mean, I don't know about your last 3 sets were, but like I saw you that night at the Fatso Show, and
so bad.
It wasn't that bad, dude.
Awful.
It wasn't that bad. It was funny.
I had to grope
laughing.
a woman.
We gotta cut that.
You had to.
Say that better.
I got handsy with a woman. Is that better?
No.
A woman consented to letting you.
I don't like this.
Let's just not.
Yeah.
Let's go home.
I touched a woman.
Say you
Sylvia, we have to get advertising on this.
Okay, I brought a woman on stage. The last show I did at Chaos, the Fatso Show, I felt like I was just bomb. I'm like, this isn't
Yeah.
going anywhere.
And you took your crowd interaction to the next level.
I took my crowd interaction to the next level. There was this woman who just kept responding to everyone's like comments on stage, and she was being polite. It's not like she was trying to heckle. She thought she was helping.
Mm-hmm.
I called her a bitch, but then she was like, she like whispered to her husband. She's like, "This is the third comic that calls me a bitch tonight." And then
Yeah,
I was
it
like, "Then
was.
stop being a bitch." But then she got offended.
She got offended.
She got offended, and she's like, "I'm not trying to be a bitch." I'm like, "Baby girl, it's comedy. I'm kidding.
We're all bitches.
We're all everyone's a bitch." And then she's just like, "I don't know what's going on." So then I invited her on stage because I'm like, my jokes weren't going anywhere anyhow. Come on up here. And then I asked her if I could
Well, it's so funny too. Like, how tall are you, Sylvia?
5'9.5", 5'10".
Sylvia was like, "Come up on stage," and then like the lady got up there and was just towering
Freaking
over
Amazonian.
Sylvia.
This woman. She was my
taller than me.
my face only went up to her tits.
She was humongous,
She was a large woman,
giant.
thin. I was a large. It was a Fatso show. But I asked her it would be okay if I grabbed her butt, and she's like, "Yeah, okay." And then she put her hand on my chest.
Well, you forced her hand on her chest.
Yeah, but then after she just
were
laid
like,
it on.
You were like, "Hold on, baby girl," and you like put her hand there, and she's like, "Okay," and then
Yeah.
she went with it.
She went with it
Yeah.
towards the end. I had to coax her into it a little bit, but then we became very good friends. It worked out
I can
cute.
make you famous, baby girl.
Yeah.
No, we can't say that.
Just a CK moment.
You just get crazy with this lady.
Yeah, but we were getting a little intimate on stage, and then I just ended it with like, "Don't you love when you have to bust out a bit because you're bombing and you need to end on something
Fun.
fun?"
Yeah, something big.
And then I got off stage and I got some laughs, but like poor man's laughs, you know? And then we went outside and Josh was like, "That was all right." And I was like, "That was freaking awful."
I didn't think it was awful. I was laughing the whole time. Everyone was laughing.
Cheap laughs.
Cheap laughs. They were cheap
Yeah.
laughs.
I know what you're saying though.
Poor
yeah.
man's laugh is
Poor
hilarious.
man's laugh.
Yeah, it's
I
funny.
only respond to guffaws. Like rich laughs.
I love that
Okay.
word. Guffaw. Oh, guffaw.
That's a guffaw.
Chaos
No,
is
that's
a
a
hard
chuckle.
venue though.
I've killed that chaos.
I mean, yeah, you're talking about like idiot shows.
Haven't been yet.
Idiot shows, and then the first Fatso show I did really, really well.
Oh, really?
Hire
And that
me,
was when
dog.
I first started.
Hire me. Well, we were talking about people that like have a natural affinity for. I used it correctly this time.
Hell yeah.
Comedy. Like I remember telling you after your shows, like, well, yeah, because you have a mind for comedy. Even if you're still working on how to write the jokes, you know what's funny about it. And I think that's
Yeah.
the most important thing.
It is.
Because there's a lot of people, and that's why I talk about putting stuff on the pedestal. There's a lot of people that just enjoy concepts, and for the longest time, that'll just be what they're doing, is spouting what they think is funny, but they can't explain why it's funny. And that's one of my favorite analogies. I'm going to be doing a ton of analogies. I'm autistic. Comedy is, or writing a joke is thinking about something you find funny, figure out why it's funny, and then figuring out the best way to explain that to everyone else so that they think it's funny. It's like you're selling them a joke.
Yeah.
I still put comedy on a pedestal, but I think the only reason I've ever put it on a pedestal is because I've seen great comedy and great comedians. I've never put the type of comedy I do or the people on our level do on a pedestal. I've never thought this was the glamour part of it. But
It's not about glamour.
No, but when comics at our level do something really freaking good, then I'm like, that's that pedestal shit. That's what I'm striving after, to be that funny
I agree.
in this room and to be in rooms where being that funny is the norm. That's like the marker that I'm like, that's what I'm striving for. So I still have it on a pedestal, but I've never gone to a mic and been like, "I'm fucking doing it, you guys. This is it," you know?
Dude, oh, he's not here. It's his story. Dominic has this really funny story about a dude that did that once, and it was literally his first time ever.
Oh, I think... Well, I've seen that happen.
Yeah, it was bonkers. He yelled at his friends. He bombed horribly, and then his friends walked in, and he was like, "Where were you?" It was awful. But that was fun.
Yeah, I still do feel like comedy is on a pedestal for me, but I do like the distinction now and understand the distinction now of open mics and stand up.
Yeah, like I think when you're doing stand up and when you're going to mics, keeping it on that pedestal is a hindrance, because then you're looking at it like it's just being like just showing up is it, and that's not it. You have to put work in. You have to think, there's a lot of factors that people like we were talking about a second ago. Social interaction has nothing to do with being on stage, but it is a big part of trying to do comedy.
For sure,
That's
it's a
one of the
huge
benefits
part
of
of
it.
it.
Networking is so big.
What'd you
People have
say?
noticed.
Networking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's huge.
People think networking is just like who you know. It's like, no, it's literally just being out and about. Like that part is being out and about, talking to people, especially right now, the LA scene is a lot more, it's still competitive, but it's a lot more comfortable than it was like 5 years ago. There used to be like an unwritten rule that people straight up would not talk to open micers. If you hadn't been doing it more than 2 years, nobody would talk to you.
I also think that has to do with like your coolness levels.
No. Because
I
I'm
don't know,
nerdy
man.
as fuck and I do well.
I'm
supposed to
talking
be
about being
funny.
cool.
Yeah, I'm not cool.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like the cool people have no problem getting into those circles because they're like everyone's like, hey, this guy's the man. You know what I mean?
I think your ability to be friendly and strike up a conversation with people, because you could be super funny on stage, but if you're awkward outside and you don't try to talk to anybody, or you don't know how to have a conversation when somebody talks to you, like somebody might put you on a show because they think you're funny, like on stage, that thought your set was hilarious. But if people can't make friends with you or be like, oh, that guy, he's cool enough to like hang around with, they're not really going to invite you out as much. They might have you on one show and be like, cool, we used you for your talent that one time.
Be gone.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to like sacrifice the body. You got to do the like cool people thing. You know what I mean? Where you like go do something you don't really want to do that much, but just to be around and just
Cocaine.
I don't do cocaine.
Me neither.
I don't do drugs like
Me
that.
neither.
We're good boys.
But I mean, I do some stuff. I party. I have fun. I'm not a big fan of putting stuff in my nose, my veins. It's not my bag. But if you can be cool with it, if you're weird around people who are doing that, then you're not gonna be around.
I've been weird, but I've been weird when people have offered it to me.
Yeah, I know.
Just because I'm a scaredy cat.
Yeah, I know. And now you're not invited to the cool people band parties.
If people are doing stuff, I'm just like, oh wow, cool, whatever. But if people and I've told you this, that one time this freaking guy came up to us after a show, this random ass like middle-aged to like almost like too old, came up to us. And we're outside on the patio. We're all smoking cigarettes. And he straight up put a key under my nose. Ah! And I was like, oh my God. And he was just like, yeah, you guys are comics, right? You guys want to party, right? And I was like, no, thank you. I don't do that. That's so scary. Please stop. And he's like, and then some of our comic friends are just like, hey, chill out. They don't do that. You got to be cool, man. And he's like, come on. I know you want to. I'm like, I really do not. I don't. I was like, I was like very police about
That
it.
sounds reasonable. He was being weird.
Yeah, but
You want to buy some death sticks? That's Star Wars.
But to put it like straight up,
We'll talk about that later.
under my nose, like that's why. Had he been, do you want to? I just would have been like, I'm good. Do what you got to do, But
Yeah, when you said weird, I thought you were like, goes, and then just run away. Like,
Why
that's
would I say
weird.
that?
Because it was weird.
it's very specific.
I don't know. You said because you get scared. That was. I tied things in my head that nobody was thinking about. I would have been awful in that situation because I do this thing. So I'm blind in my right eye. I have a blind spot, so I can't see
Can you
things.
see me right now?
I'm like aware. Like if I look forward, I do see you. Like. But my peripherals are different from other people because I can't make out what's there. Like, I can't tell the difference between you and a plant sitting there. So when people approach me,
Industry
I don't
plant.
know that they're moving until they're close enough to, like, touch me. Like, right here.
I'm not going to touch you.
so I
didn't
can
ask you
get
to.
my...
Okay.
I'm not that tall lady from the show.
That's true.
I'm the shortest person here. But so I get spooked a lot when people approach that side. And my brothers and I used to like sneak up on each other. So I developed this habit where I go, whenever someone like comes too close to me suddenly. And so I was thinking of that, like if a guy...
You always spit. I'm just kidding.
But sometimes it's something when people try to come up to me.
Basically, you're saying you would blow the fucking key.
Yeah, like if it hadn't been me, he would have lost his house keys.
Fools are crazy. I don't really like doing cocaine and stuff, but I'll be around. Like I'm down to party. I'm smoking blunts left and right. People who are doing drugs love to smoke weed, and I like smoking weed with people. So I'm having a great time. We're drinking. We're having fun. And it just got to be cool, you know what I mean? That's part of the job, is just being funny, being fun.
Dude, there's some wild people at Mike's. I met a dude that used to dress like the Joker.
Oh, yeah, you guys told me about that.
Yeah, but the part that was like, it was all rubber, like a rubber suit. And he didn't wear regular like prosthetic makeup. He would paint his face with like store paint.
Right.
So he smelled like plastic all the time.
That's so funny.
And he would try to get people to talk to him by buying pizza and handing it to him. The pizza smelled like plastic. It was an awful experience, but he was nice.
Was he funny?
No. He would just talk like the Joker on stage. Quotes from the movies and whatnot.
Yeah, that's the thing about open mics. They're open. You know? Anyone can come sign up. And it's cool. I wish there was a second tier. I wish there was a second open mic tier.
The second open mic tier
is like getting booked on shows.
Getting booked on shitty shows.
Yeah, you're right.
It's free shows.
The third tier is getting booked on good shows. The fourth tier, which I think is what we're all trying to get into, is getting booked at clubs and touring.
And then beyond that is like
festivals, stadiums, headlining,
sitcom. That's what
another bus, club, plane, no sleep, another bus, club,
all day. I get it.
Yeah,
you get it. It's a reference.
But getting booked on shitty shows really is the second tier to it. What people like to think the second tier is getting booked on shows, but they're bringer shows. That's basically doing a fucking open mic. They don't care about you. They haven't seen your set. They don't care if you go or not. They want you to bring people to spend money.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point of the comedy in general.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. I wouldn't do a bringer show.
Don't. It is a scam.
Yeah. I wouldn't do anything scammy. I have no interest in it. Yeah. I'm not that desperate.
No, don't be.
That's why I don't even go up at the open mics all the time. Like
bringer shows and like Craigslist comedy companies. They'll be like, you can make between $28 and $500. You're gonna be making 28.
I've almost fallen for those scams like 3 times.
Sometimes you need $28.
I'm like, $28 could change my life right now.
Someone sent me a link once, and then a few months later they sent me a different link. I'm like, I know that it's from a different city, but this is the exact same poster. How are you continuing to fall for this?
Someone was looking for comedy hosts, and they were like, if you're a comedian, like, we want to have you host all around LA. And then they were like, you need to do 3 trial shows. And I was like, okay. And they were like, 2 of them are in Palm Springs. And I was like, all right. And they're like, and you need to be able to bring 5 people out. I was like, okay, getting myself to Palm Springs in general is already a mission. And now I'm like, bullshit.
Yeah, Palm Springs bringer is crazy.
But
Palm Springs comedy shows aren't too bad.
No, I've heard they're good. I've heard they're fun. But I'm like,
they're hot out there, and they need to go inside somewhere, and they want to laugh.
Nice.
It's like any of those like outside areas are like kind of good because they're highly dense and people like want to go out.
Also, I really want to talk about this too, just while we're still on the bringer subject. I was recently invited to do a show by one of my comic friends. She's very sweet. She's like, hey, I'm doing this show at this time. There's like 2 or 3 shows happening the same day. she's like, would you want to do it? And I'm like, hell yeah. So she told me who to hit up. I hit up this guy. And then he was like, awesome, for sure. We'll put you on the show. The way the show works is that you get put on, but you have to recommend a comic. And I was like, I'd love to recommend a comic. I want to perform with my friends. So then I recommended Gigi. And then as the show date was approaching, he never asked us. It wasn't a bringer show or anything, but it was like one comic refers a comic, refers a comic, refers a comic. And the day of, she's like texting me, hey, this feels a little weird. I don't know how I feel about this. The show's a little strange. And then I go on their Instagram story, and the day we're supposed to perform on the show, there's 3 shows back to back. They're each like almost 2 hours long. And at the end of the day, there was like maybe 45 something comics on this show. And everyone was doing like 5 to 10 minutes. I'm like, this is going to be the longest show in the world. You know, this is crazy. Why is he having this many comics? Because the room is full if it's full of comics, and there's still a 2-drink minimum, even if you're performing on the show. And even if every comic brings one person, it wasn't necessary, but if you bring one person, you already have 40 people in the room.
Yeah.
So
that is weird, but also
still scammy.
I don't mind doing my jokes in front of comics.
It's not that it's
I respect them more than regular people.
No, but that was their way of getting a full room.
I know. I was just trying to think about my benefit ratio. If you can get on early, it might be worth it. Just to get known in front of a bunch of comics as being funny.
It was a bunch of newcomer comics.
They're preying on like people that aren't into it that long.
45 comics in one room. Where was it?
I don't even remember, to be honest.
If it's in LA or like anywhere in the LA area, that might be worth it. 45 people is a lot. And if you're funny and you're good and you can get these people to remember you, that's my whole thing. That's my thing about everything is when people, I do this thing, I might cut this, but I do this thing when certain people like some of my stuff, or when I add someone, they add me back, I'm like, say my name, dude. You had to say my name. You had to read I'm Joshua Benjamin to fucking do that. You know what I mean? And I have like this thing, like you keep seeing the same thing over and over. You keep hearing this thing over and over. Eventually it's going to stick. And you'll be like, I've heard of that. I think I've heard of that person. You know what I mean?
Okay, Destiny's Child.
Is that a thing?
Say my name, say my name.
I don't know the lyrics. I just know the rhythm.
If no one is around you, say, baby, I love you. Why the sudden change?
Say it.
Say my name.
If you ain't running game.
We get demonetized again. How do we keep doing this?
That was your fault.
It was, no, it was her fault. She brought the song up.
Yeah, but the rule is like 7 seconds, isn't it? You went past it.
It's cut. So, no, I didn't. Snip, snip. What was I saying? Say my name. Oh, yeah. So I do kind of do that thing. Like, there's like this marketing trick that if you see the same thing 7 times, you'll be like, what's the deal with this thing I keep seeing? Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's being talked about. So I'm trying to like, that's like kind of like a thing I like doing. That's why I use my name on everything. It's like my full name. And
I do too.
Yeah. It's good.
I didn't do it with that intention. I think I'm just a fucking genius. Sometimes I just be doing the right shit and I don't even know.
It's true. Yeah, that's what we're talking about, being a natural. Like,
I was kidding.
I know you're kidding, but I also do think there's an element of truth to that. It's like you just have there's some people who could just sing, and there's some people who are just naturally tall, so they're good at sports.
Sing, girl. Just sing.
Yeah, like like my first year was really good. I had only been doing it like a month before I got on the Chatterbox show.
How long have you been doing stand-up now?
On and off for 8 years now.
8 years?
There's like 2 years that I don't count. One of them was COVID, and one of them was last year. Just because I was moving, so I wasn't like doing shows a lot.
So 10 years?
No, like 8 total, but I call it on and off. So
okay.
Technically 6.5.
Technically 8, but 6.5 to you.
Roughly, yeah. Consecutively, it would be like 6 years. Did you ever see a series of unfortunate events?
I think I watched a few episodes.
It's a movie.
The movie.
It's a movie.
There's a character in there at the beginning. They do a red herring intro where you think you're watching a stop motion animation about an elf called The Happiest Little Elf. and then it cuts to this depressing ass movie about murder.
I've always wanted to make a movie where the trailer was about somebody, and then they die in the first scene, and the rest of the movie is just about something completely different than the trailer was
Seen movies
about.
do that, yeah.
I've heard people say that, and I don't know. I've never seen.
Scream did that. A lot of the trailers were banking on people going to see Drew Barrymore, and then she dies right away.
Yeah.
Which,
that kind of
what
thing.
movie?
I said Scream.
But you meant
No, Scream. Yeah.
she and Drew Barrymore in Scream?
Yeah, she's the first victim.
Oh, cool.
She's the one that answers the phone.
For some reason, whenever I think of Scream, I think of Jennifer Love Pfefferman.
She did?
I'm not going to explain that, and whoever gets it gets it.
Pfefferman?
Yeah, Jennifer Love Pfefferman. I said
Not
what I said.
Hewitt?
No, not Hewitt.
But my first year went really well. The very first time I technically did stand-up was Dominic's birthday, 2015. He was doing a sort of spoken word open mic. The original intention was for people to share just like real life things. They could share poetry, they could tell stories. But I wanted to do stand-up, so I wrote like 5 minutes of material, and then it actually became my original like closing jokes. And it went well.
Nice.
And then I started going to the Ice House first, and that went well. I didn't bomb until like maybe my 5th time doing it, which is unusual. It's not common.
Right. I mean, I've done about probably like 35 mics total.
Yeah.
And I haven't like truly bombed.
Yeah.
I don't count an audience of like 2 people as bombing.
What I'm saying is like I do consider like this group mostly natural at it, but
Big
that's
naturals.
not. Even though we found each other, we hang out in a group. It's actually not that common. Like there's literally one of the most common tips people tell you is everybody bombs their first time.
Yeah. Everybody falls their first time.
Yeah. And it didn't happen to me, and it didn't
happen to me either.
I usually say like that was my downfall, was like doing well the first time because I was not prepared to bomb, and it did not feel good.
It doesn't
Never
feel
feels
good.
good.
It doesn't
but it
feel
was
good.
like
I've bombed jokes. I've said jokes that fell flat.
yeah,
But for the most part, I've had good sets.
yeah.
Have you ever bombed? I'm sorry. Did you bomb your first set, or did you do good?
I don't know what I'm considering to be my first.
The first time you got on stage and did jokes.
Okay.
Like at all.
Well, the first time I did it, I did in front of my family, but I don't consider that a show.
Did you went to an open mic and it was only your family there?
No.
You like got up in front of your mom?
It was my
like,
brother's birthday, and I told him I was going to do comedy, and then he like forced me into saying jokes in front of my family.
Did they laugh?
All I did was roast my family for like 15 minutes.
Crowd work.
Crowd work. I started off, I'm kind of like a crowd work girly. So, no, I really did. I was just like roasting my family
That's
for
so
15
funny.
minutes. And
How old are you?
Oh, shit. This was, I must have been like 22, 23.
Okay, yeah, it's about right.
That's the time I started. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's the 22 is like the common age. It's like the median age for a stand-up comedian to start.
Okay.
Yeah, I started at 21, and that was like 2016.
Yeah.
A lot of the greats started at 22.
Yeah. I would say 23, closer to 23, because I had already, yeah. Okay. So around that time. And then I didn't do like an actual set in the world until I was maybe 24, 25.
Okay.
And I did it the first time at the Hollywood Improv.
Oh, nice.
It was the first mic I was
Scary.
going to visit. And I was like, they were like, oh, are you going to put your name in the bucket? And I was like, nah, it's my first time just seeing a mic. I want to see how it works. They're like, honestly, people don't really get to go up here. So you should just do it. You probably won't even get called up. And I was like the second person to get called up. And I was like, oh, fuck. But I had like jokes that I had written down in a notebook just in case.
Hell yeah.
I think it was a 3-minute mic. And I did okay. I mean, I got laughs, which I was shocked at. And it was like, I've been chasing the thrill ever since. But
Yeah, it is like that.
yeah. But I also, at the time, for what it was, I got laughs. People came up to me after, and I didn't know my audience was going to be straight little white boys that really liked my material. And they came up to me after. They're like, hey, you were so funny. I'm like, oh, wow, this is my drug now.
Yeah.
But like now looking back at the material I did, and where I'm at now, I'm like, I can't believe I did that. That was so awful. It was so cringe, you know? But I feel like in 10 years, I'll look at what I'm doing now and be like, what was I doing, man?
I do think I have a rare trajectory also. Like, the jokes that I just did for my show that you guys saw, that Crush, are some of the jokes I wrote from my first stand-up open mic of ever. You know what I mean? And I did well that night too. Steve, the first night I ever did stand-up, because like, do you know that like they bullied me into doing stand-up and that I didn't want to do it at first?
Nerd.
And that Dominic told Steve that I wanted to, and Steve banned me from the bar until I did an open mic. Because I would go to all the open mics and just sit in the back. And so I waited, and then I went, and I did great. And Steve was like, I'm genuinely impressed.
Nobody wanted me to do stand up. But that's how I knew I'd be good.
No one wanted me to do it.
I'd be like, I've been thinking about doing stand up, and they'd be like, you know how hard that is?
It's so funny saying that. I've been trying to work on this joke where I'm like, I have lost a few of my friends, like that. I have like some friends that hate me now, but they say if people hate you, then you're doing something right. It's funny to say that about ex-best friends, though. You know what I mean?
It's true. In one of the last videos I was on, I got a lot of hate, and I'm like, straight up, I have so much clout right now. I'm like,
Top 3 videos.
if we don't have haters, we're not doing well enough. They're all just like, you're so fat. And I'm like, say it to my face on Instagram. Follow me, Sylvia. Come to one of my shows.
The name of this episode is going to be Follow Us on Instagram.
Follow us on Instagram and tell me how fat am I?
How fat am I?
Oh, that's great. We've been talking about bringing it up, and I'm like, I'm gonna bring it up.
All right. Yeah.
Keep it in.
Okay.
All right. Hell yeah.
I can't.
Don't comment in the bottom about my weight anymore, you guys.
You ever write fat jokes for yourself?
Please.
Well, here's
they
what I
write
mean.
themselves,
Like,
am I right?
I write fat jokes, but I mean, like, I used to say that like nobody's ever gonna be better at calling me fat than I am.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of my method too.
Like I used to be like I'm so fat when I sit down I'm 2 inches taller. Big bite.
Oh, okay, that's funny.
You and butts.
Stop it.
Just saying.
He loves fucking butts, man.
I used to say when I was younger that
Gay.
I've heard.
Fat jokes are just so easy.
So easy.
So easy to come by.
Low hanging skin.
And
I was gonna hope you said low hanging fruit because I was gonna be like, then that's my favorite kind. I don't have to work for it.
I've heard. Have you
Thank
guys
you.
gotten these comments of like when people hear you do fat jokes? I don't know how often. I don't think you have too many fat jokes.
I don't.
A lot of my jokes are fat jokes initially because of your self-deprecation. I think they're funny. I fucks with it. Sometimes it's just good filler if I don't have, a good hold on my other jokes. But I get people like coming up to me after sometimes and they're just like, you're so funny. You don't need to do that to yourself. You don't need to, down talk yourself and this and that. And I'm like, bitch, I'm trying to capitalize off of this. I'm like, if it hurts your feelings, don't be here.
Yeah, for sure. Facts.
I've had I get that a lot in my lives because people ask like, what jokes are you working on? Every time I'm working on a fat joke, they're like, I think you're really funny, but all this self-deprecating. It's like, but this is the bit.
And it's also a style of comedy.
Yeah.
Self-deprecation is an art form,
Yeah. Like I do this bit
It's not specifically.
where my dad roasts me for wearing a yellow shirt. And I did that bit on a live once, and this dude was like, why are you putting yourself down? I was like, I'm not. This joke isn't about me hating myself for being fat. This joke is about how silly my dad is, how hard he's trying to call me fat. Because in the bit, I'm like fat Pikachu, yellow Snorlax, a Skittle.
I thought he would say, my son and my stars.
That's really funny. I'm stealing it. No, I'm just kidding. That's
Keep
really
it. There's so many. There's so many jokes.
100%.
I get the weirdest heckles. Online, I get negative heckles. And they're always so funny. I remember one time someone meant it as a compliment, but they were like, I was going to comment something about this dude being fat, but then he did a fat joke, and he's like, he's all right.
I think that's funny too. When people comment shit about us being fat, do you really think we're
know?
not aware?
Yeah.
Do you think we don't know?
I do a bit about it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like people were saying all that shit in the comments, and it's like, do you think that we think we're healthy?
Yeah, like first of all,
No,
okay,
I'm not
I get
healthy.
it. I'm skinny. I'm a skinny queen. I'm out here living the skinny life. But no, I know what I look like.
Yeah.
I haven't been on a roller coaster in forever.
I don't go for anxiety.
They haven't booted me off yet because I'm aware enough to not get in line.
Did you just say you won't get on a roller coaster because of anxiety?
No, yeah. I've never been on a roller coaster. Well, no, I've been on 3
It's
by
just
4s.
funny. It's just
That's what I call her.
that's what I nicknamed
All my anxiety story right here.
That's
I
so
will
funny.
say, I know I've told this story before, but it's relevant. I have been politely dissuaded away from a roller coaster because I went to Universal for Dominic's birthday, I think last year, and we went to Harry Potter Land because we hadn't been there before. And the first thing I wanted to do was the Harry Potter ride, and we're walking down this giant ass zigzag, and right before we actually get towards the door, the lady stops and says, "Real quick, we just want to see that everyone knows how to put on their seatbelts." And it's like, we're all over the age of 25. Like, we fucking know how to put our seatbelts. But she's like, we have this tester here. Why don't we start with Hugh? And starts with me, and I couldn't fit in the seat. And I was like, okay, I get what you're doing. Thank you for being polite about it.
Yeah, dude. Fucking. First off, most roller coasters suck.
No,
Okay.
I love roller.
Which ones though? There's some good roller coasters, some bad roller coasters. I've been on roller coasters.
I love a loop-de-loop. A loop-de-loop.
Really?
Oh, hell yeah.
Just like straight up loop-de-loop?
Suspend me upside down.
Montezuma's Revenge.
Yes. What's
Boomerang?
Moctezuma.
I think Boomerang's closed now.
Moctezuma.
Montezuma.
Batman.
Tu madre. Anyways, I loved most roller coasters. There was hardly any I didn't like. I think the only one that I didn't particularly love was I think it was called Tatsu.
Tatsu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that one, because they like restrain your ankles and you're like hanging like this instead
Yeah.
of straight up, and
I
it was
remember
just
that.
uncomfortable.
And you're like floating on you're like flying. It's like you're flying.
Yeah, that one I
Yeah.
didn't like just the positioning of it. But most
I remember having a horrible experience on Tatsu. The people in front of us, like if I looked up, it was just dirty feet, like black bottomed feet. It would look gross. And then when we got to the end and we had to like wait, we were sitting there for like, I don't know, a few minutes, and I was just over vomit. Like somebody was on that ride just throwing up at the end, and I was just over it, like hanging, and I was like, this is disgusting.
no.
I hated. I don't like Magic Mountain in general. I'm like, why couldn't this have been flat? They couldn't have made it Magic Flatlands. They had to make it a mountain. It's fucking walking uphill for fucking the entire day in the blistering heat. I hated that shit.
You were
Loved
right, they're
Six
crazy. The ones at Knott's Berry Farm.
Some of them are pretty cool.
Older ones. Like there's ones where you ride a horse. Bonkers.
Ride a horse.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster, but instead of a seat, you're on a horse.
Is that still a thing?
I don't know if they moved it, but
I know they've gotten rid of a lot of their classic rides.
yeah, a lot of their insane rides. Were you ever on the Cyclone?
I feel like I remember hearing about
He
that
moves
one.
his body like one.
I move my body like a cyclone. Would you stop getting us demonetized? Jesus.
I didn't.
Every chance you
did
get.
it. You did it because you call it out.
Yeah, but you keep
could
bringing
let
it up.
live.
I know, I
Reference
can't.
is different from a quote. Oh, so it's similar to like the teacup thing where you sit in a thing and it
Ugh.
spins, but it's like 3 levels of spinning. You're an individual harness, not a seat, a harness. That's
I remember.
spinning.
I remember it was
And
in
there's
the across
4
from Bigfoot
spinning.
Rapids.
Yeah, and then that is you're paired with one other person. You're in 4 units, and then that is a part of a thing that has 2 units, and then that's on a big octopus thing that spins.
I sent 2 units. They're bringing her down now.
I know where that's from.
Is that what we were just watching?
No. I've actually referenced it a lot in this episode.
I know what it is, but I can't.
Everybody falls their first time. That was also a reference from that. But it's okay. We're going to move past this.
No, you've unlocked my obsessive compulsive Oh, what is it?
The
What
Matrix.
is it from? Okay.
Yeah, the cyclone. Those anything that spins within spins within spins. Can't do that, bud. I got
I
motion
love that.
sickness. I have super sensitive motion sickness. I get sick on Ferris wheels. Ferris wheel, slowest rotating thing. I'm like,
I don't like Ferris wheels.
can't do it.
I don't like heights.
I love roller
Love heights.
coasters.
I have bastophobia. I'm afraid of falling.
Love roller coasters. Can't stand a Ferris wheel because of Final Destination.
I've seen. Don't watch 5. A roller coaster runs into a Ferris wheel.
Well, the second one, I think even the second one, the roller coaster is like the Final Destination premise.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. There's something about Ferris wheels that freak me the heck out.
I like merry-go-rounds. They're nice.
I get sick.
They're calm.
Merry-go-rounds?
I can't do constant circles. Even if they're slow moving, it's worse.
Girl, I love spinning.
I can't spin, bro.
I love spinning. There's a bar that we go to, and the stools spin.
Shout out Sunset Lounge in Fullerton.
Shout out Sunset Lounge. And I sit in those chairs and I just
I have
spin,
video of
baby.
it.
I just spin, baby.
Were you one of those kids that, like, on the swing, you would spin instead of going back and forth?
I would do that.
Yeah.
I would do it all though. I loved swings.
I went to Vegas
Bum,
one time
bum, bum.
and I was really drunk. And my sister.
Liking swings.
No, not liking swings.
Everyone likes swings.
It could have just been a subtle bit to the audience, but you had to bring it up. Spinning, rotating is a stim.
Well, I hate spinning.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm not talking to you.
I love spinning. This one time I was in Vegas and we were pretty drunk, and my sister and my cousins were like sitting a little ways away from me, but I didn't know my sister was watching me the whole time. And I remember I was really fucked up and I was watching. I had lost all my money at at a casino game, like the automated ones, but it kept saying free spins on the screen and the stool spin. So I was like, hell yeah, brother. And so I just kept spinning the stool.
That's
And I was like,
awesome.
it's free. And I just kept saying it over and over as I kept spinning.
That's how you
and
do
then I look
Vegas,
over.
baby.
Yeah. I look over and my sister's filming me. And then like she posted on her Snapchat and she just kept going, she is having the time of her life, like zooming in, and I'm like,
Special needs.
I really do look like that. It's fun. I have a joke
Fucking,
that I'm
it's like
working on.
you're
about
like
that
a
too.
human version of like when someone gets their cat a cool ass fucking thing, and then the cat just plays with the box.
It's so fun because it's like you're on drugs, but then it stops very soon after. It's controllable drug.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
It's inertia. Your brain is still moving around in there.
No, I know.
Inertia. I hardly know her.
Inertia. I dated her cousin.
Yeah, I get really sick on like slow moving, spinning stuff, dude. That tears me the fuck up. It's awful. I like speed. I like to go fast. But I hate stopping. The stop, hard stops kick my motion sickness in instantly. Like I instantly get dizzy. I remember. Do you know the Disney California Adventure, their roller coaster that goes in a loop de loop? Am I boring you?
Oh my god!
Yes.
No, I saw your
guffaw.
fake yawn. You're like,
I was okay. First of all,
that was a yawn. I saw
Jesus
it.
Christ!
It was a high,
I was trying to
yawn.
hold in my yawn.
I know.
I had to yawn, so I was trying not to be disrespectful. So I'm over here like, and he's like.
Anyway,
I just get childish when I'm okay. Go for it.
awake.
Just every moment, every moment I'm awake.
I'm so childish when I'm awake.
Cuts to you like in the opening of Pee-wee's Playhouse.
It's gonna cut to you playing with the xylophone.
Are we gonna get to do
Probably
that?
not.
Oh no! That was so mean.
Okay. Anyways,
You're gonna make me cry.
you know in California Adventure, the roller coaster ride that they have there. Come on, dude. We're almost done. We're in an hour and 30 minutes.
I really want to play with
Okay.
it.
Okay. I'll let you play this stupid ass xylophone.
Hell yeah.
Maybe.
Ow.
Oh,
Now I'm not. So that was an omen. No, you can't.
Back on.
No, it's not back on.
Back on.
You're saying bacon wrong. at Disney California Adventure, you know the roller coaster that goes in the loop de loop through the Mickey. It's like a big old Mickey symbol. I can't remember what it's called right now. At the end of that, it comes to a hard stop. I was fine the whole ride. Did the loop de loops, did all the parts, did the ups and downs. The stop at the end when the ride's finished killed me. I got out of the roller coaster and I was like. And they were like, "Do you need a trash can or something?" And I was like, and I just went up against the wall and threw up all over the wall. Like I was so disoriented, like I couldn't even see straight. It was like being so drunk that like my eyes were crossing. Like I was so disoriented. It was crazy, and I felt awful. And the worst part is that I had gone with my ex, and I was like, I don't want to get on this. Like I'm gonna get sick if I get on this ride. And they're like, "You haven't even eaten anything, like." You're not gonna get sick. It's just a kid ride. It's a kid ride. And I'm like, I know myself. I'm gonna get sick on the ride. And they were like, just do it. And my friends convinced me. Everyone convinced me. And I got on it and I fucking got all sick. And then after that, they're all like, sorry.
Dude, that thing of like you haven't even anything fucking is the worst.
It's the worst.
That's not what causes the throw up. Like it's just what.
The thing is, they're saying it's like, oh, there's nothing for you to throw up, and I'm like, you don't understand that that's worse.
Yeah, you get stomach cramps.
It's better when you have something to throw up because I just get it out of my system. When I don't have anything to throw up, I'm fucking dry heaving. Yeah.
And it's stomach acid the whole time.
Yeah, and I think I had like some fucking Gatorade or something, so I was just like blue poison. I was just spitting up blue poison. Yummy, yummo. But yeah, dude, that was awful. And you know the worst part is that all of them know that I get motion sickness. Like it wasn't like our first trip to the theme park. Like they've seen this happen to me before. It still tore me up. I do terrible on stuff like that. That's why I have to drive everywhere. That's also why I smoke a lot of weed, because it helps me with motion sickness.
Yeah, I get a little motion sickness when other people are driving too, if they don't drive very well.
I try and drive good. I feel like I drive okay.
You drive very well. I never get like nervous or do you do the fake brake like thing with your foot when someone else is driving?
If I'm getting nervous,
yeah, you're just like,
stop. This is the time you should be stopping.
Yeah,
this is the time you should be stopping. Yeah,
I am very reactive. It's one of the reasons, other than being disabled, that I get anxious when I was learning to drive. I get really anxious. I'm a terrible like passenger, but I always like acknowledge it. And I actually like apologize.
Well, you're a dark passenger.
Because I'll jolt at like slight thing, anything that would surprise me, I react to, and so I always constantly have to be like, "It's not you, I swear, you're a very good driver." It's just,
yeah, it happens sometimes when I drive you home.
I clutch the thing. It has nothing to do with.
There's nothing there to clutch, is there?
Yeah, there's
in my car. There's a handle in my car. Oh shit! There's no shit bar.
Most cars.
I know that though because sometimes I'll like if I have to burp or belch in a car, I'll always roll down my window. Because I hate when people just burp in a fucking closed, sealed car. It grosses me out. But you know, I'm a human. Mm-hmm. So I'll like crack my window and we'll be on the freeway and it'll just be like, all of a sudden and it'll like wake him up because he'll like fall asleep because it'll be late when we're going home. And he'll be like, ah! Yeah. And I'll be like, it'll scare me. I like roller coasters.
I like turtles.
You know what is like a roller coaster? You know my favorite roller coaster is stand-up comedy, and I'm glad that I'm doing it. And I'm glad you guys are my friends.
Friendship, little ladies.
That's dead to me.
Oh my God.
That we sold that thing off to college.
Why?
It's true though. I am glad that you guys are my friends, dude. You two specifically.
Friendship.
Would you stop with that?
Nope.
We're the best friends. Not we're best friends. We're the best at being friends.
And that's all I have to say about that.